All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Mike Catalana. I am Jenna Cottrell. Dan Fates attending with his family, hanging out with his newest daughter, Ryan Page, so we want to celebrate that. We're also going to talk Bills camp, though, the final week of practice. But before we do, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you enjoy our content. All right, we're here at Fisher. The Bills are off this Saturday. I don't even know what day it is. But that doesn't matter. This is the final week ahead of practices here in Rochester. And some of the guys we want to talk about and some of the guys we're looking out for, there's a lot in terms of the guys that are on the fringe trying to make this roster, all these things. But one of the spots that we've talked about so much this preseason, middle linebacker. Let's start with one of the guys. What guy in that group are you looking forward?
Terrell Bernard. I really want to see what they have in him. Look, we know what kind of player Tyrel Dodson is. I thought it was really interesting the way Sean McDermott described him and said, listen, we know Tyrel in the role that he played, but we have not seen him game in, game out.
Yeah.
So that part is a little different. Terrell Bernard, we don't really know what kind of defensive player he is yet, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Last season, when Tremaine Edmonds was out with an injury, it was Tyrel Dodson who was out on the field. So we did see some of that game action. Terrell Bernard, a guy that the Bills used a draft pick on. He's a guy that they want to have kind of bring in. He could be that younger guy, maybe a little bit, faster than a Tyrel Dodson, but obviously maybe not as physical as a guy like T-Dot. But that is someone that I want to see make some plays. And that's someone I'm looking out for, too, because, I think Tyrel Dodson is in front of that competition. I think it is a competition.
I do think it is, too. Look, he's got a lot to prove. We know Dodson can call the plays. We've seen him do that for the Bills before. We know he can play in a legitimate NFL game. He's done that.
Yeah.
I mean, Bernard did not really get a lot of snaps on the defense. No. And I think it is a two-man race here. Dorian Williams has stayed on the outside the whole time.
Yeah.
Another draft pick. Not maybe ready yet for that role. He'll get special teams and maybe a little fill-in. It would look like certainly more for Matt Milano than it would be for him, and maybe on some other circumstances. But I do think, this week is the last week of camp. I think we're past the point where there's any guaranteed snaps, right?
Yeah.
That's what they were doing before. Not anymore, because what is it right now? It is a meritocracy.
A meritocracy. I still hate that I said what I said the other video.
Did Dan see it, by the way?
I don't know. He didn't text me, but that doesn't mean he didn't see it.
He might have seen it. Well, Jenna said she's above Dan.
It's not what I meant. I thought it meant longevity. Okay, but that being said,
right.
I think you're right. The snap counts, that all changes. It's not cute anymore. It's who's going to be the guy that they think is the guy.
And what's really interesting about this is as we talk about preseason snaps, I don't even know if Tyrel Dodson is at that place where you just sit out the preseason like a lot of veterans will. He's got to play, and certainly Bernard's got to play. So let's keep an eye on him. But we've been looking at it as who the starter is. Bernard is in this race. Let's see what he can do, and then we'll see what he can do likely on Saturday against the Colts.
All right, I'm calling an audible. We're going to stay with the defense, but a guy that I'm looking towards to see if he can flash at all is Boogie Basham. Just someone, he's a guy that really right now is seemingly on the fringe. The Bills did draft him a couple years ago, but can he produce that flash that we've talked about wanting to see? I haven't really seen anything so far this camp. He's a guy that's been inactive, a healthy scratch at points last season. So this week, to me, I'm just kind of keyed in and seeing what the Bills will do, if he'll make any plays that you're like, wow, there's Boogie Basham. But for the most part, we've talked about it. He's a guy you're like, oh, yeah, Boogie's out there.
Yeah, there's guys fighting for jobs on this team. Basham is one of them. Certainly with A.J. Epinesa, who's in the final year of his contract. Then you get a guy like Shaq Lawson to go with him.
Yeah.
I think Shaq has $450,000 of guaranteed money. That's not enough to keep anybody on a roster.
Yeah.
But I think Shaq has proven to them before what he can do. We've seen big moments out of Shaq.
We have.
Even last year, I think he only had 3 sacks, but he made some plays behind the line of scrimmage, and he's not making a lot of money. I just can't see all of those guys being on the roster this year. They brought in too many people. We don't know yet what Von Miller's status is going to be, but Basham can play inside.
Yeah.
Good. Versatility helps you. We've seen some of that out of Epinesa.
Yeah.
But come on, Jenna, these are guys you want to see make some plays. We have not seen that yet.
Correct.
Deadline spur action. The deadlines are coming. That's the cut day. It's about a month away, so let's see how they look this week.
I'm just curious if I want to notice him out there. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I just feel like I haven't seen anything, even this camp, where I'm like, there's that play, there's that guy.
Yeah, a couple of plays. Like I think Boogie had a deflected pass, and I think so did Epinesa during practice this week. But again, you're talking about random plays here.
Yeah.
I say this all the time. We can notice some plays. We can see guys flash. Coaches are watching every second of every drill when they're out here.
That's one thing I think as a fan you don't realize is the fact that they have cameras in every position group recording every snap, studying that after practice. This isn't just game tape. It's, okay, what happened in this one-on-one drill, or what happened in this individual work, all this stuff where you're like, they just crank through that.
Yeah, and look, game time stuff matters a ton.
Yeah.
I mean, if a guy steps up in the game, can make plays, holds down his position, they start to trust him more, he's got a good shot. But you got to practice well. That's what this team expects, especially when you're fighting for a roster spot. Yeah. They want guys they can count on. These guys are past the point where they're these young guys with potential. Not that they're still not relatively young and not that they don't have potential, but you got decisions to make on players. Contracts come into this and where they are. So that'll be interesting to see.
NFL, not for long. So we'll see what will be the case in terms of that and what this preseason, this end of this week at Fisher will be like for them. All right, Kaiir Elam, another guy that I'm going to be kind of keyed in on. Another guy that the Bills use a first-round draft pick on. What can he be? We've talked about Dane Jackson kind of being the incumbent, as well as Christian Benford. What can he do? Kaiir, to me, is still that guy that, I think the Bills want it to be him. They used all that draft capital to get him. I think they see the athlete that he is, and can he continue to build? And can he beat out a guy like Dane Jackson or Christian Benford?
And I'm going to go back to the word, and I think it applies to defensive backs more than any other position with this current regime, and it's trust.
Yeah.
Does Sean McDermott trust you out there as a starter? And last year he was a rookie. It's noticeable that Benford got the start at the beginning of the year because they found that they trusted him more. Elam had moments. There are times I watch him and I think this guy can play, but it's got to be on an every down basis. Now, it absolutely helps that Trey White looks like Trey White on the other side, and Poyer and Hyde are back there, and Taron Johnson is in there, whereas last year it was a bit of a scramble, and they still started the 6th-round pick. So let's see where it is, but I don't want to be spending 3 seasons going, when does it kick in for Elam? He is a number 1 pick. Physically, he can do it. You said it, and I agree with you. I think they want to see him get there, but they're not going to hand it to him.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to the offense. O'Cyrus Torrence. That is someone this week who I definitely will be trying to get some eyes on, because we've talked to Deion Dawkins. He calls him a mountain and all that stuff. And I think the Bills used, again, a 2nd-round draft pick, another guy that was picked high this past draft. What can he add to this offensive line? Can he beat out Ryan Bates for that starting job? And he's someone that I think so many Bills fans have been asking us about, because we've talked about Dalton Kincaid, I feel like, so much. But he's a guy that fans are like, so what's the deal? What's going on with him?
I think he's got a real shot to start week 1. And the reason I say that is I think they have a lot of faith in the guys on the O-line. I think Spencer Brown is a guy that has been a concern. Good to see him come back. He got nicked up at the last practice here, and he was back out on the field. Practiced on Friday. Look, any guy giving up something, we saw it last year. Questenberry was in the game, misses his block. Josh gets hit, hurts the elbow. It can happen to any player, but you don't want that to happen. But that being said, I think there is more of a sense that you can have an offensive lineman out there, a rookie, help him. He's got quality guys around him, and say, let's see if this guy can elevate. Bates is ready if he's not, and get him on the field. I don't know why. I just feel like it's a bigger chance to take, certainly at linebacker or corner, because like that, it's a touchdown if the guy makes the wrong play or the wrong call. But I think they really have a good feeling about Torrence, and I think he's got a shot. Now, he's got to prove it. He hasn't played in an NFL game, not even preseason. And Bates is a good football player. Josh likes him. He has given them some good snaps. But we're talking about a guy, at some point you want a young guy in there who's going to give you 5+ years on the offensive line, like a Deion Dawkins has. Let's see if it's him, but he didn't proven it to you and me. He's proven it to these guys. He's proven it to the coaching staff and to Sean McDermott, the entire staff. Can he be that guy?
I feel like you want to go with not the hot take, but you want to say, okay, O'Cyrus Torrence is starting, but you're adding a lot of there's a lot, there's a lot.
Okay. In honor of Dan Fates, Father of the Year, I'm going to have a hot take. This isn't even that big of a hot take. O'Cyrus is starting week 1 against the Jets at MetLife Stadium. He's out there.
Wow. In honor of Mr. Fates himself.
I mean, come on, he's a second-round pick.
Yeah, I hope that's not the hottest take of the offseason. No, it won't be. Yeah.
Slightly more than lukewarm take.
That was mediocre.
Mediocre.
All right. Trent Sherfield is also another guy that I wanted to talk about, just because I feel like he's made some nice catches out there, and he's someone that we've talked about when the Bills signed him. The wide receiver, what he can add, what he can bring. It seems like he's developed a really great rapport with Josh Allen, and I don't know if that was because maybe with Stephon Diggs being out in the mini camps and the earlier offseason stuff, but that's someone I think that Josh has really found a liking towards in terms of throwing him the ball, and he's made some pretty nice catches at camp as well.
He does. He looks like he understands the offense, knows what he's doing. We're talking about a guy who was the number 3 receiver for the Dolphins behind Hill and Waddle.
Yeah.
And
good company.
Most catches he's made in a season, 30 catches last year. The guy's been around this league. I think, what did I tell you, 78 games he's played in his career. So we're not talking about a kid who hasn't been out there. He has not put up the big numbers. I think he's looked good. I was listening to our friends Chris Brown and Steve Tasker the other day, or maybe Maddie Glad was on. I'm trying to remember who was hosting. And a caller called in, and she ripped Sherfield.
Really?
And she was like, this guy's a practice squad player at best. And I'm like, have you watched him out here?
Yeah.
He's an NFL player. Yeah. Now, that doesn't make him a star, and he's going to have to earn those snaps because they've got other pass catchers, and he's going to be a 4th or 5th, whatever number you want to call it, at wide receiver. But I was thinking, man, I don't know. It was just interesting to me. And the guy sort of stuck up. I think it was Chris Brown stuck up and was like, come on, this guy has played. And the reason I bring it up is he has played. He's not a name people have noticed.
Correct.
But he's got quality NFL experience. He started to put up numbers last year.
And Tyreek Hill, his former teammate on the Dolphins, talked about how he expected Sherfield to have a breakout season. He believes that he is immensely talented, one of the most talented receivers he's been around. And Tyreek Hill saying that says a lot. I mean, the potential in terms of what that could offer. I think it's a situation we've talked about it before. It's kind of found money for the Bills if Trent Sherfield can be like that guy that we've kind of seen here out. But same point, that's someone I'm going to be watching this week because what we've seen him do in past weeks and the potential that offers.
Yeah, I mean, you need another guy who can play on the outside.
Absolutely.
And they haven't had anybody in the last couple of years that they trust. Obviously, Diggs is getting the majority of the snap, and Gabe can play almost anywhere. And, you can split other guys out, but that's Sherfield's role on this team. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it was Jake Kummerow at times. He's a special teams guy. Yeah. So anyhow, I know. So I'm interested in seeing him in game action. It's not going to be with Josh Allen, I don't think, but let's see what he ends up doing.
Well, bonus player. Let's talk about Allen.
The other one.
Yeah, the other one, Kyle Allen.
Yeah.
First preseason game a week from today. So this on Saturday, they'll host the Colts. Kyle Allen.
I think we should see a ton of him in the preseason. Yeah. We know who Matt Barkley is. Correct. Matt Barkley is outstanding third quarterback on a team. Knows the offense, can step in at any moment. He'll likely be the emergency third in games. At least that's what I'm anticipating. Yeah. He can come in and play. But they want better than that.
Correct.
And I think that's why in the last couple of years, this is what they've done. I don't want to see a lot of Josh Allen in the preseason. No. I wouldn't really want to see him at all, but I'm sure he'll get something. But we're going to see a lot of Kyle Allen. Let's see how he looks. And he's probably going to be out there, with the 2s and the 3s the majority of the time. But I want to see how he runs the offense. I want to see how he looks in control because, in honor of Marv on his 98th birthday, I'll use the line, depth is a great thing until you need to use it.
Yeah.
We don't want to see him play. The team doesn't want to see him play because if he's playing in the regular season, that means Josh is injured.
Yeah.
The other side is you're blowing somebody out.
Yeah.
But I want to see how he looks. I mean, this has been a rotating thing. It's the Case Keenums, the Mitch Trubisky's, those guys. Now we get to see this. So let's see how he looks. But I think over this preseason, these 3 weeks, we're going to see a lot of them.
I agree. I hope that is the case. And he's had some nice moments out here on the field.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how it'll look in terms of the preseason action. But yeah, that's someone that I think Bills fans, you want to see how he looks. You hope you don't have to need how he looks. That was a really clumsy one. This is our 7th day of work in a row.
I would say this. You need him in moments. You need him in moments. And those moments could be for a quarter. Those moments could be for a game, 2 games, right?
You're not high also.
You're not turning the team over to him, but you might need him in moments.
Yeah.
Look at the Chiefs. They've a few times in the playoffs, and now he retired. Oh my gosh.
Why am I'm seeing
Why
his
did I
face.
do that? I can see him.
Okay, so that was, who did they beat? The Browns? Who was
In
that
that
game?
playoff game, they beat Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, that's right.
But they beat the Browns in the playoff game. Chase Daniel. No. Used to be with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
We talked to him at the Super Bowl.
Yes. What the hell is his name? Google it. It's going to annoy me now. He just retired.
Just retired because he's got his Super Bowl rings. And, oh my God, so many people right now are watching this.
Yeah, don't make fun of us.
Chad Henne.
Yes.
Yeah, it hit
I
me.
wanted to say
before
Heineke. I was like, Taylor.
Chad Henne.
Yeah.
Chad Henne. You guys know. The reason I say that is he's Chad Henne.
Yeah.
But, man, when they needed him, he came through.
He came through.
That's what you're looking for. So, Allen to Allen, that's what they're looking for.
So funny when Kyle Allen signing autographs and all the kids are like, "Oh my God, it's Allen!" And then they realize it's not Josh.
I went up to, there was little kids, and they were waiting for Josh. And before he got there, I said to the kids, I go, "Listen, when he comes by, say Kyle. Hey, Kyle."
Yeah.
And you should have seen him. Man, these kids learn
They
right
were
away.
fast,
Then
yeah.
they started chanting, "Kyle Allen." Awesome. Of course, he was great. He signed for all of them
Yeah,
anyhow.
yeah.
But I mean, don't ever yell like I see guys yelling number 24.
Yeah.
Know the names.
That's-
the guys
yeah.
will come over. But they got into it. Kyle Allen came over. He signed. It was great. It was great. Me
It's all
teaching the
because of
kids.
Mike Catalana.
You know, these people who say I don't teach. I teach.
Yeah, you do. All right. Anything else you want to add?
Nah, we'll be back out. We're back out here tomorrow.
I know. It's a little bit later start though.
What time?
11:15 is the first
Oh,
interview.
I was going to be here early. 11:15, really? Well, I'm going to
Now you're making me second guess, but
No,
yeah.
I think you're right. I think it's the only non-9:45 Pittsburgh
Yeah,
practice.
okay.
Yes.
All right, good. I was going to say, could use some extra sleep. All right, thank you for watching Buffalo Plus. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Buffalo Plus store. Just visit buffaloplusstore.com and send in your questions if you have any, and we'll talk about them on the channel. For Mike and Dan, who's back at home, I'm Jenna. We'll catch you next time here on Buffalo Plus.
Thank you. Go Bills.